泳ぎなんてコツをつかめば簡単ですよ。
And according to the new Little Mermaid, y'all can also talk underwater. Hey, come on, just be glad I'm not gonna play that god-awful song. With their summer vacation nearing its end, our protagonists decide to head to the beach this week. For Sora in particular, it would be her, and probably Tsubasa's, first time since Skyland only had lakes on their little floating island things. Thus, she was surprised to learn that Earth was mostly made up of H2O, and understandably a little overwhelmed by it, but still wanted to have fun with her friends. Yeah, let's just do it now, so that we don't have to worry about it later.
Just already!
However, the festivities were literally drowned out when Sora revealed that her hero training did involve swimming lessons, or at least not in the traditional sense.
スカイランドの湖ではガッツとハートで乗り切ってきました。
Excuse me, what?
Yeah, I think this might be a reference to an old Japanese saying that people who can't swim are dead weights in the water, which I guess Sora just decided to live up to that. But since salt water increases buoyancy, she could rely on her training and thus had to actually swim. So, being the super serial hero she was, Sora asked her friends to teach her how to swim. And after a blatant reference to that one buffer that this company could never stop using for whatever reason, the lessons began, starting with Tsubasa. And yes, there are bird species, aside from obviously penguins, that can swim underwater with their wings, something that Sora didn't have, so they just moved on. Even though, later in the episode, we'd see that Tsubasa could also swim in his human form and...
The answer is don't think about it!
For Ageha, she tried to teach Sora the same way she would Elle, which, yeah, meant she could only really teach her up to kindergarten, so they needed to at least get an intermediate teacher. And thankfully, Sora's waifu was a natural swimmer and could properly teach her. Thus, they finally started the proper basics for adolescents, floating. Be one with the Chiyu. However, still adjusting to the new environment of the ocean, she ended up tensing up and became a dead weight. Not wanting to quell everyone's fun, they decided to just put the lessons aside for a minute and just enjoy their time at the beach. Could you two please not encourage the crustaceans, or else they're gonna start... But yeah, they partook in the usual activities at the beach, like snorkeling, and didn't I say we already got that joke out of the way? Riding floaties, including that one banana that appears in everything, and watermelon splitting. I mean, come on, with her super strength, that's what should have happened. Case in point, when she almost decapitated poor Mashiro while they were just playing a friendly game of volleyball. Though, speaking of strength, Miyotone just so happened to be at the same beach, conditioning his muscles, and sweet Jesus. So, is this enough for the Baldur's Gate 3 players, or not quite beastly enough? Anyway, we then got a legit really good Mashiro/Sora scene, where the former assured Cure dead weight that she shouldn't stress about not being able to swim, because ironically that was what was her exact problem. Again, stuff like this is why I think the show is at some of its best, but it's just focusing on these two. They easily have the best chemistry and the best developed relationship in the show, so much so that the upcoming film seems like it's going to be centered around them, which yeah, more on that at the end. For now, though, they had to deal with an angry Warthog who thought his mortal enemies were wasting their time by playing at the beach rather than training like him, which, yeah, if they did what he did, we'd all be in trouble. Still, in a kind of clever way, he also did kind of represent the extreme version of Sora's views on getting improper training. Thus, he used one of the ring floats to make a Plock? Yeah, seriously, I'm not the only one who remembers this old SNES game, am I? Well, anyway, they transformed, but Sora still had to deal with her greatest weakness. So, now can we make my costume not just a limited time item?
No!
The fight overall this week was actually quite good, as while not exactly a Sakuga fest, it supported the main plot of Sora's inability to swim, and did have some pretty clever moments like Masho and Ageha using their respective barriers as platforms to float above the water to save them time and likely some expensive dry cleaning bills. The big turning point of the fight came when they realized that Plok could cushion all of their attacks by just floating on the water. Thus, Sora literally pulled his plug to let out his air, which, yeah, it's kind of savage just looking at that. Frankly, Plok was kind of justified in trying to drag her down with him. Her friends managed to free Sora, but then they had to deal with the monster themselves, leaving Cure anchored to her own devices. This led to, like, the third or fourth time Sora had to heed her waifu's advice. Nah, whatever, this was a pretty nice moment anyway. Okay, so I know we already used this music back with Tropical Rouge, but come on, she even looks like Miku. But yeah, while not exactly the cleanest form, Sora managed to make it back to the surface and her friends. And while Ageha did her usual deal and buffed her ally, at least Sora did deliver a pretty awesome Shoryuken, followed appropriately by her and Masho's finisher since this episode was all them. With that, the episode ended with them actually quoting Chiyu and Masho writing a letter to send to her parents, saying that she had a great time with her friends and you know who. Cameo cure this week was Yui, which along with Manatsu, does seem to confirm that they're highlighting the characters who will be in All-Stars F. Though, considering how much they quoted her teammate, I think they should have gone with Nodoka, but whatever. Still, this was a cute enough little beach episode with some fun interactions with our characters. As someone who actually lives close to the Pacific, I can honestly say they took full advantage of this setting, using it both for an engaging conflict of Sora trying to learn how to swim and a unique battle. While these third quarter filler episodes have been a mixed bag to say the least, at least we're ending with a fun one like this. As mentioned last week, the writer of this one was veteran Isao Murayama, the writer who, for better or for worse, is obsessed with his setting details. Thus, I guess when he was told he was doing a beach episode, he just decided to go all in by having our characters do everything they could at the beach, most notably swimming. And of course, it would then figure that the one human character, who hadn't lived near any large bodies of water, would be unable to swim, leading to some good back and forth with her teammates. The sequences of them trying to teach Sora were entertaining bits that also spoke a little bit about their own traits and personalities, like Tsubasa being a bird capable of swimming, and Ageha having too much of a preschool teacher mindset. And of course, Mashiro would end up teaching Sora how to swim because 1, she does make the most sense since she is the most grounded member of this team, and 2, Murayama likely saw a little of his own creations of Mirai and Liko in these two, so he decided to add his own little touch. But seriously, as always, the exchanges between Sora and Mashiro are some of the best parts of this show, as they do highlight their opposite, yet attractive personalities. In this case, the latter's advice of just relaxing and not focusing so much on immediately mastering something ended up saving the day. Sora, wanting to be the best hero girl possible, ended up tensing up under the pressure when she just needed to flow with the water and let it and the sky become one. It's certainly more poignant than her little makeup exam, and provides a good lesson for those trying to get into sports like swimming. And overall, this was just a sweet, and surprisingly not too complicated of an episode for frickin' Murayama again. Just enough good interactions and fun moments to leave me satisfied, though also glad that we're finally returning to the main plot next week, and the start of the next big development for this series. Though, and also, we did get another preview of the aforementioned All-Stars F. Not too much to comment on what I saw, other than unfortunately the delicious smile started to spread, but we did hear what Cure Supreme and Puka sounded like. And thankfully, they're not just celebrity guests, but rather experienced VAs in Maya Sakamoto for Supreme, who previously played Asuka the First in Go Princess, as well as Haruhi from Oran High, Aura from Dot Hack, and a bunch of servants from FGO, including the Jeans and Da Vinci. For this character, she seems to be using her more Haruhi tomboy voice, which, as someone who loved Oran and Garden of the Sinners, I think it matches well with her more emo-looking Cure. Meanwhile, Puka is played by Atsumi Tanizaki, who previously played, female student and club member in Doki Doki, as well as Uchan in Fruits Basket 2019, Mew in Blend S, and Anya Forger. Needless to say, two very talented VAs who I'm really looking forward to seeing in this movie. Also, again, please don't turn out to be evil. We've already done that so many times. So, yeah, didn't quite get that Futai review out by the end of the week. Yeah, sorry, but I just got a bad case of food poisoning in the middle of the week, and it's kind of hard to record lines when something else wants to come out instead. Don't worry though, I'm mostly better now, and the review should be out in the oncoming week. So, I hope you can look forward to it, and until then though, for now my friends, and... Didn't I tell y'all to go away? Okay, then. Who wants to get in the pot?